On March 27th, 2025, the channel Salish Sasquatch shared the account of Matthew Parrish, who had recently moved from Texas to Washington's Quinault rainforest. The channel documents first-hand encounters and witness testimony surrounding Sasquatch activity. What began as isolated incidents slowly formed a pattern, one unfolding dangerously close to home.
We first lived in this house when we first moved to Washington, and around 12 to 1 o'clock in the summertime, we would smell this mild, musky smell, nothing overpowering, nothing real strong, just a gamey smell. We'd come in through this bedroom window that we had right here, or the bathroom window, and we had a box fan up in there, and it would just suck in everything. So it would just fill up the whole house, and we didn't really know what that was. We thought maybe a bear at first, and it wasn't until later on when we moved out of this house and we moved into the house next door right here where we started to really experience some activity. And it wouldn't be until my parents actually came for a visit, the second week we were in this house, is when we would realize what we were dealing with. That we weren't dealing with a bear, we were actually dealing with a Sasquatch. The house is where it happened. Yeah, we followed the tracks all the way around. It came right up. They like to come right up through the woods here, and then there's a game trail right in here. This is where I give them, this is where I put all the food, because it's where they come. And this is actually the rock that was used that night. It's still here. We kept it, and they haven't taken it. When my parents came to visit that first night, we had cooked a bunch of seafood gumbo. My stepmom did. Us being from the South, my wife hadn't had any kind of Cajun food or anything like that in a little bit, so she was really craving that. And so she made all this. We had all the windows open. This was the end of June. We just spent all evening out on the porch having a good time, probably till about 11 or 12 at night. And around midnight, we decided to call it quits and go inside and lay down for the evening. And so we let my parents have our bedroom, since it had a window unit in there and they could be more comfortable, Me and my wife actually took my daughter's room right here, and at that time she didn't have a window unit. It was just we had to leave it open to be comfortable. And so around 2 in the morning, my wife wakes me up and she goes, "Do you hear that?" And I said, "No, I don't hear." She goes, "There's something out there banging." And I said, I get kind of flustered. I'm half asleep, half awake. And I was like, "Go back to sleep. Nothing's trying to get in the house. There's all kinds of stuff. It's a rainforest full of wildlife. You're going to hear stuff." And so I start to lay back down, and I heard a very sharp, clear whistle. But this was not like, it was short. It didn't drag out. It was just a sharp, clear, short burst of a whistle. And it didn't sound like any bird. It sounded more like something a person would make, kind of like at a construction site, but different, if that makes any sense. So now I'm awake. Something's got my attention, and I'm listening, and I'm trying to, and I can't hear anything.
Not long after settling near the rainforest, Matthew began noticing disturbances that felt deliberate rather than random. Late at night, sharp whistling sounds cut through the silence outside his windows. Brief, precise, unsettling. On other nights, low guttural chatter emerged near his children's bedroom. He described it as distorted speech rather than animal noise, lingering just long enough to be clearly heard before fading away.
I come back over here, and I'm putting my items out on the table, and I can hear just something breaking the brush. And it's big, whatever it is, and it's coming up fast right here behind me. And so I spin around, and my headlamp hits it, and I just see 2 eyes looking back at me, and they kind of duck down. And I was like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" I just started talking, and then I said some expletives under my breath, and because I was I was kind of shaking at the same time, and it would pop up and it would look at me, and it would have these red eyes that would reflect. It was definitely reflecting from the headlamp. It wasn't like it was, you know, I've heard people say they generate their own. This was reflecting red, and something over here started getting upset. I believe, because I started hearing a bunch of brush just pop and snap and get ripped up. And this thing that I had in the headlamp would look over in that direction and then look back at me. And so as this is going on, one of the things that I noticed about it was it would be red, but as it would start to turn, it would be like almost kind of an orangish amber color. And then right when the light would hit the side of the eye, as it was looking over here, it would be a yellowish color. And then when it would come back, it would be red again. So I thought that was really odd that was happening. And then it raised up a little bit further, and this goes on for about 5 minutes. And finally I decided, okay, I need to leave, you know, I need to get back inside. And so I start to go back into the house, and it's dead silent. I don't hear anything. And when I got to the corner of the house, I looked back one last time to see if it was following, and there was a set of red eyes again right up here on the tree. How it closed that distance in that short amount of time, I don't know, you know, that without me hearing it. A friend of mine told me, who also does Bigfoot research, said that it's possible there might have been a third one that was on that tree the whole time, and that's what you saw, and that's why you didn't hear anything. I don't know, but it was too close for my comfort. It was probably only, you know, it's like maybe 40 feet right there. So I hightailed it on back inside the house, and that was that night. That was pretty eventful for me. And I actually captured it all on video.
Where are you? Come on. A little closer. There we go. Come on back. Come on.
That sense of distance vanished during a nighttime encounter near the tree line behind his home. From roughly 40 feet away, Matthew noticed movement. Something crouched low, then slowly rising. As it shifted, a pair of red, reflective eyes locked onto him. They remained visible long enough to confirm awareness, before retreating back into the darkness.
I said, you're talking about Bigfoot, right? Sasquatch. And she goes, yeah. She said, what do you know about them? And I said, I know that they're around here. You know, they're in the Pacific Northwest. And she goes, yeah. She goes, they come through here. She said about 2 or 3 of them, a couple times off and on throughout the year, pass through. And she's actually had stuff like tap on her windows late at night. She'd let her dog out one night, and she said that her dog was going nuts, but it wasn't scared. You know, you hear a lot of stories where the dog is scared. This dog was more aggressive. He was barking at something. She called him back in, and she said that these 2 things approached her bathroom window, which is right off of her bedroom, her master bathroom. And she said that one just was kind of like very dark, deep, gurgled gibberish sounding, she said, aggressive. And it was like clawing, like picking at the window screen. And so she was actually scared. She actually called the police to come out here. And they came out here and they looked around her property and everything. And, you know, about 45 minutes later after they left, it comes back again. But this time there's like another one, she said, and it sounded more like panicked, you know, kind of like you know, she couldn't make out what they were saying. It just seemed like one was pissed off at her and one wanted the one that was pissed off to leave. You know, that's the feeling that was her perception of it. And so she calls the police again, and they come back out here, and I got a video of that, of him walking around out there on our security camera. This goes on. He tells her, he said, "Hey, I can't keep coming back out here. I don't know what you got going on." And so she says, "Well, you know, that's fine." So she gets in her truck and she comes down here to where her mother lives, and she spent the night with her mother.
The activity didn't stop there. A nearby neighbor later reported a more aggressive incident. Shortly after police left the area, deep growls erupted outside a bathroom window, followed by violent scraping against the screen, as if whatever was there was reacting to the sudden loss of attention, not startled by it. Many viewers believe these encounters show intelligence, territorial awareness, and a deliberate pattern rather than coincidence. And if that's true, how long had something been watching from just beyond the trees? On November 20th, 2025, the YouTube channel, The Adventurer, known for documenting real camping and survival experiences, recorded a night in a remote forest locals warn people about. A small group set up camp near a river, expecting a quiet stay. But as night settled in, the forest began to feel unfamiliar and uneasy.
Sini sikit Bang, nanti kena api pula kan. Pek ya. Masih baru, masih lama lagi ya. Gas kan. Kayak mau hujan nih. Iya. Takutnya malam hujan nih Pak Ben. Tapi Pak Ben, waktu kami camping sini dulu Pak Ben, ini kan pernah nih bekas kami kemarin nih. Iya. Memang angker juga tempat ini Bang. Bukan kayak lagi, rasaku iya nih Pak Ben. Iya. Awalnya lain Pak Ben. Auranya beda sama tempat lain. Iya. Saya minum-minum dan sekarang kita akan mendirikan tenda. Sini ya kita taruh. Iya. Pinggir sungai ini ya. Iya. Oke. Pintunya terbuka ya.
After setting up beside the river, the group relaxed near the campfire. Conversation shifted to local warnings about the forest being different from other camping areas. Nothing appeared wrong, but recalling those stories changed the mood. As darkness deepened, attention stayed fixed on the surrounding shadows.
Apa itu? Wih, tunggu apa? Oh, burung malam. Sahabat The Adventure, katanya di sini kita dapat informasi tadi. Katanya daerah ini agak rawan, kita harus hati-hati. Pak Ben udah menghilang dia. Itu dia. Oh itu, Pak Ben. Nengkene sih. Sedikit lembek sedikit, tapi apa tuh dah? Woi. Oh, Pak Ben. Pak Ben. Alah Pak Ben nih. Jadi apa tadi Pak Ben? Manjat-manjat. Tengok kayu. Oh, kayu kering. Kalian apa pula dari Pak Ben? Nah, di sana. Apa di sana tadi ya? Iya. Ngiri sini depan Jo. Ada yang aneh ya. Barang kita ada yang hilang tiba-tiba. Ini bahaya nih Pak Ben. Iya. Ngiri sini Jo. Iya. Mana? Di mana Pak Ben taruh nih Pak Ben? Oh, ini dia ada. Oh itu. Alhamdulillah. Pokoknya ada hal-hal yang aneh di sini ya. Lanjut masak Pak.
Jadi suasana di hutan ini sangat luar biasa ya, nyaman ya kan.
Belakang Pak Ben tengok, itu belakang Pak Ben tuh dia tuh.
Ada bayangan Mas ya. Ada bayangan tuh.
Itu Pak Ben, tuh. Apa tuh Pak Ben? Besar, panjang, tinggi.
Iya. Wis.
Sini aja Pak Ben.
Memang sia-sia dia masak emang juga. Patir emang juga.
As the night went on, small incidents began to stack up. Strange bird calls echoed through the trees. A tool briefly went missing, then reappeared. A tall, dark figure moved behind the campsite. Later, distant howling carried through the forest. Each moment felt minor on its own, but together they built tension. By the time the fire was rebuilt and coffee was made, the forest no longer felt peaceful.
Kita nggak boleh terlalu apa namanya euforia.
Ya. Dengan
Karena kan tadi kan ada juga pemberitahuan dari
warga
ya pas kita ke sini tadi ada yang di sini kurang apa kan. Pak Ben. Apa ya? Pak Ben. Maju. Jangan naik maju. Pak Ben. Ya. Bikin kaget aja gitu. Ini maju ya. Bisa terbang itu apa ya? Udah Mas Bi, sudah ditutup Mas Bi.
Ya. Apa lagi dah?
Apa? Cari selimut Pak Ben. Pak Ben, game Pak Ben. Oh enggak, apa? Astagfirullahaladzim. Allah.
Jangan ganggu kami. Ya. Allah.
Pegang Pak Ben.
Astagfirullahaladzim. La haula wala quwata illa billah.
Kita banyak berdoa aja Manjul ya. Iya. Suara apa itu?
Astagfirullahaladzim.
Kita keluar dulu Pak.
Tidur aja langsung.
Kalau keluar.
Lewat Bi. Ya, tidur aja Pak. Ya.
Tidur kita lagi yuk. Yuk.
Udah nongol lah. Apa dia? Astagfirullahaladzim.
Mana Mas Bi?
Itu Pak Ben. Panjang besar Pak Ben.
Tidur lagi Mas Bi.
Ayo. Astagfirullahaladzim.
Tidur pinjam mata. Ya. Baca doa apa Ben? Ya.
Shortly after midnight, the situation escalated without warning. Several objects were suddenly thrown upward and away from the campsite. Confusion set in immediately. The group retreated into the tent. Moments later, the tent began shaking violently. Terrified, they stayed silent inside, praying and keeping their eyes shut as the night dragged on. Then one person cried out, claiming to see a human-shaped shadow standing outside the tent. After that, everything went quiet. In isolated places like this, repeated disturbances can turn uncertainty into fear, even without clear answers. So where does that fear really come from? The forest itself? Or the mind trying to understand what it can't explain? Essex Ghost Hunters are a UK-based paranormal investigation group known for exploring reportedly haunted locations, abandoned sites, and woodland areas across Essex and nearby regions. Their investigations rely on real-time observation and natural reactions, allowing viewers to interpret events without exaggerated claims. On March 5th, 2012, the team entered Pluckley Woods.
Right, everyone, this is Essex Ghost Hunters going to do our investigations of Pluckley Woods. Give me a top. Just give me a top, right? I want in front.
Hold on,
in front.
Russ. Oh, hold on. Try over there, Russ. No, I just said something.
Oh.
What did I tell you? Simon is everything. No, he heard something. All right then, let's stand here. If he's hearing something,
you shine a light, you're not going to see him.
Thing is, we're still by the road. Let's move further inwards, and then we can say like, stay here. I don't think that's rain. No, that's just like
Let you clean it, you can only see it.
the thing is, it might just be the mist rolling in.
This has got to be a scary time you've done so far, isn't it?
It's up there, mate. What do you hear that?
The investigation began near the roadside. Visibility was poor, with mist drifting between the trees and damp ground underfoot. Early ambient sounds were noticeable, but the team acknowledged they were still close to traffic and nearby activity. To reduce interference, they decided to move deeper into the woods in search of a quieter environment.
What do you hear that? No thanks.
Oh,
Why?
because I just looked behind me.
Was there nothing there?
No, you just
Hang on.
While walking, one investigator suddenly reacted to a noise behind him. He turned immediately and scanned the area, but nothing was visible. The group stopped and listened closely. No further sound followed, leaving them unsure whether it was movement in the undergrowth, shifting branches, or something closer. Despite the uncertainty, the moment noticeably raised tension.
If there's any spirit present here, make yourself known to one of us, touch us, give us a little push.
Nothing too violent.
Apparently you scream in these woods. Scream. What you're renowned for. What you're renowned for. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Could have been a bad direction. Could have been a bad day.
It could have been, but it was like a scream,
No,
wasn't
it was. It was.
Was it in that direction?
Yeah, it was that direction.
Anyone else hear it?
No. It was
I mean,
really
100%.
faintly, though.
Yeah, it was a
100%.
very, very...
Let's go quiet again. I'll do it again.
As they continued deeper, a sharp sound came from a specific direction, described by the group as resembling a scream. Everyone stopped and listened. Possible explanations were discussed openly, including wildlife or a bird call. But the tone and timing unsettled the team. They cautiously attempted verbal communication, asking aloud if anything was present, while acknowledging that no response might come.
No, so far, the rest of them have said they've heard screams here and now, footprints.
One investigator briefly separated from the group and explained that Pluckley Woods has long been associated with reports of scream-like sounds heard from different areas. Light rain began to fall, further complicating audio clarity. With moisture, wind, and dense foliage adding background noise, the team noted how difficult it was to separate environmental sounds from anything unusual. No clear evidence was captured during the investigation, while footsteps, tapping, and scream-like noises were heard. Each was acknowledged as potentially explainable by weather conditions, wildlife, or natural woodland acoustics. The team openly reflected on the challenges of nighttime woodland investigations and suggested returning during the summer months for an overnight visit under better conditions. As they left, the forest fell quiet again, the earlier sounds unresolved, and the experience left open to interpretation rather than conclusion. In 2021, an urban explorer entered what looked like just another abandoned house, still filled with the remnants of someone's life. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but halfway through the exploration, something changed. The house felt frozen in time. Everything had been left exactly where it was. The kitchen in particular told the quiet story of someone's final days.
Head on over here, and now you can see they must have been smokers because the walls and the ceiling are caked with, and it's just dripping with this brown stuff. And I do believe that that is the sign of a smoker's house. And if you look on the walls, you can see what they call a wall scar from where pictures used to hang on the walls. And there is one of the pictures right there. Looks like that one might have been right there, quite possibly, guys.
Then, in the hallway, he saw it.
Okay. I just realized where we are. I just realized what house we're in. And I had no idea, guys. Whew, okay. That changes things. I'm going to change my tone here. Guys, this is a body stain. Somebody passed away right here. And well, I didn't expect that. Okay. You guys have probably seen this. Some other explorers have been here in the past and have posted some photos of this in this video, but unfortunately, yes, I believe it was an old woman who fell here and passed away on the floor. And see what I can dig up in terms of information without giving away too much. But yeah, that changes things. That changes my whole mood of this house, realizing that this is that house. So, I don't want to step on that. Let me just move over here and take a step over. Okay. That is very, very sad, guys. You've got legs. You can see the torso, the arms, and the head. That is my second body stain, guys. My second body stain. There's a wig right there. And it's so hard to see, like, that unfortunate thing on the floor there, the stain, to determine where it had come from. If it came from this bedroom or this direction in the house. But anyways, I don't want to focus too much on that at this point. Let's just keep up our explore here, guys. Oh, there's another bedroom back here. This is a room full of books in here. Elvis and Me by Priscilla Presley. Oh, all kinds of books in here, eh? And then there's on the floor. Like, does the family do this? Does local kids do this? I don't know. This room is literally a wardrobe. This is just clothes, yeah. A lot of clothes. Wow, guy, that really changes my mood. Having seen that and realizing what house it is that I'm in. All right, so this is basically a walk-in closet from that main bedroom that we were just in. Right here. As you can see, that's the bedroom that we were just in. Okay. These houses are so hard to navigate through when you have to watch what you're stepping on and you're tripping all over stuff. And there is a locker underneath here. Right here. Putting this box back where I found it. Yeah, there's a walker there. Oh, it's so weird to be in that, to have that in my sight. Not going to get all excited and happy like I usually do because this is a sad little house, unfortunately. So what I will say, guys, if you have elderly parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, colleagues, check in on them every once in a while and don't let something like this happen. That's very unfortunate that someone's life has to end that way alone, left on the floor for who knows how long.
The house still stands today, a reminder that behind every abandoned building is a story, and sometimes that story is far more tragic than anyone expects to uncover. Urban explorers Dan and his friend were documenting an abandoned high school when a routine exploration took an unexpected turn. The building was in severe disrepair. Water poured through large holes in the roof, soaking the floors below.
I don't know. Yeah, this is smaller than we usually see, but it's pretty interesting. It hasn't been burned, but there's one sketchy thing right now that makes me really uneasy. Is the extensive water damage to the roof. You can see it just pouring in right now.
In pretty decent shape, actually, surprisingly.
As they moved through the dark hallways, they found classrooms frozen in time. Bookshelves were still stocked with textbooks. Break rooms held furniture left exactly where it had been used. Everything suggested the school had been abandoned in a hurry. Deeper inside, they reached the library. Even the graffiti felt deliberate. Orange, green, and blue spray paint matching the colors of the books still lining the shelves. Then, in one of the rooms ahead, something caught their attention.
Yeah, just keep an eye out on the rooms before we go in them. Yeah, he's just chilling. Let's keep going. Yeah, guys, that was crazy. I've never gotten that close. I mean, I don't think I've ever really encountered a homeless person. It's so unfortunate they have to resort to living in a place like this. He had all his stuff set up. He was just sitting. And you could see on the window there was some of the books, some pages from the books that he had pasted to keep a little bit of privacy in there. Yeah, there's because I peeked in. I didn't even see him. I didn't know like who it was or what it was. I thought it was like a blanket or something. And I was I was literally peeking in the window, and then I'm like, oh, that's a guy. My buddy said there's an ambulance outside the freaking door. Oh my god, yeah, there is. Yeah, that's weird. Alright, we're gonna go try and find another exit.
They didn't stay to find out what it was. The two left the property immediately. The school still stands today, slowly deteriorating with each passing storm. But based on what they encountered inside, it may not be as abandoned as it appears.